Hello, boys and girls. My name is Jeffrey Garrett. I'm Miss Sharon's brother, and I'm a police officer. As a police officer, we do things like stop cars, answer 911 calls, write tickets, serve warrants, and arrest bad guys. I decided that I wanted to be a police officer because I wanted to help people and because I wanted to take those bad guys to jail. During training, you will usually ride with the sergeant for 16 weeks. During those 16 weeks, you will learn things like how to properly use handcuffs, how to properly use your radio, how to properly use your car's blue lights and siren, and when you can take those bad guys to jail. We do not get to pick the gun we want to use. The sheriff or the police chief will give you a weapon so that everyone in the department has the same weapon. When you first start, you will usually get the oldest car that the department has, although most of the time it is a Dodge Charger. When you first start, you will usually learn and ride with the sergeant. He's the one that teaches you because he is the most experienced on the road. We do not get to sleep at the police department when we are working, unless we have worked more than 24 hours during one period of time. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I hope to see you one day as a police officer.
So my name is Chief DURWOOD DEMENT of the Kitchener Volunteer Fire Department. Well, my dad was a firefighter, so I joined, followed his footsteps, and I made a career out of it. I've been doing this for 25 years. Yes, training helps for physical shape, mental, and it helps do the job good for to help people out. Well, we can get water out of hydrants, pools at your house, a pond, dump tanks off the trucks we have. We can dump water into them that holds up to 2,100 gallons. So, and then other fire departments bring us water. When you go on shift, you work for 24 hours a day. Then you're off one, you work another 24, then you're off one, then you work another 24. And when you get off that day, you'll be off for 4 days in a row. It depends on what's burning, how much water you have, how many trucks you have. And it depends on how it is. Large buildings take 13, 14 hours possibly to put out, or days. Firefighting to me is not a job, it's a passion. I love to help people when they get sick, when their houses catch on fire, or the car, anything. I just love to help people. I hope this helps out what y'all want to do. Thank y'all for inviting me to do this. Y'all have a good day. Thanks.
I'm Dr. Charlie Jenkins. I'm a veterinarian in Wilmington, North Carolina. Sometimes we'll have pets come in that can't walk, and what we do for them depends on what the actual cause of them not being able to walk is. And it can be a problem with their legs, it can be a problem with their spine, it can be a problem with a nerve that's pinched in their spine too. And so some of those animals we can help with surgery, some of them we can just support, get them harnesses or slings or wheelchairs and help them be able to move around. But there's a whole lot of different things that we can have happen with that. Love animals, and I especially love this little girl who is my own puppy. My favorite animal is cows. I love cows, and many people don't realize it, but they have great personalities. Just like dogs or cats, they have all kinds of different attitudes and moods and can be really special. Not very often. Of course, we will occasionally when the right case comes around, but as much as we'd like to be able to help more animals and more people by treating them for free, we have to remember that vet hospitals are still a business, and we have to pay our receptionist, we have to pay our assistants, and we have to be able to get medical supplies and keep the hospital going. And so if we did everything for free, we wouldn't be able to stay around to help the animals that really need us.
Hello, West Oxford Elementary. My name is Dr. Trudy Bowden. I'm happy to do this short video for you today for Career Day. I am a small animal veterinarian. I take care of cats and dogs. I graduated vet school in 1999. I chose this career because of my love of animals and science. I do. This is Tully. She's one of my two dogs. As you can see, she was born without her right front leg, and she has no idea that she has special needs or handicapped. She can run like the wind. I also have two cats, which may come into the video at some point this evening. My daughters have two guinea pigs and two rabbits. My favorite animals are definitely cats and dogs, but I would be hard-pressed to choose between the two. I can't think of a single animal that I dislike. There are many animals that I don't routinely treat, so I don't know a lot about caring for them, but I've always had a deep love of all animals. For those of you that are interested in a career in veterinary medicine, a strong background in science and math are very important, as well as good communication skills verbally and in writing. Good luck to all of you, and I hope to see you soon.
What's going on, West Oxford Elementary School? My name is Derek Ross. I'm one of the participants of the virtual career day. I am owner and operator of Hoops Domain Basketball Organization. I created Hoops Domain when I realized there was a need for elite basketball training in the area. My job is to help players realize their basketball dreams. I help players get better. One of the main reasons why I became a basketball trainer is my father was a successful high school basketball coach. So I've been around the game of basketball pretty much my entire life. And while being around it, I developed a passion for it. I love playing it. I love teaching it. I love it all, man. I love watching it. I've always been a student of the game. And so what I wanted to do was be able to give back to somebody else. Through the years, I've learned a lot about the game of basketball. I've played at a very high level. I've even competed against some players that even went on to play professional basketball. So I've learned a lot. And I think what I have now, I can share with others and help them get better. As a basketball trainer, one of the hardest things to teach a basketball player is taking what they learn in our training sessions and translating over to the actual game setting. I can teach you how to dribble a basketball one-on-one. I can teach you how to perfect your jump shot. However, one of the most difficult things is taking what we've learned there and applying it into a game. over the years, I've had the opportunity to train many players, probably close to 500 to 600 players if I had to guess. A lot of these players range in skill level from beginner to advanced. Age-wise, elementary, middle school, high school, college, and professional. Most of the kids that I train are striving to play Division I college basketball. So the bulk of my training is done with players who are in middle school and high school looking to play on the college level. I do have several players who I've trained who are currently on the college level and are trying to make it to the NBA or professionally overseas. So as a trainer, my goal is to always help my players achieve their goals. And if that goal is to make it to the NBA, I'm going to do everything I can to help them do just that. The best advice I would give to anyone interested in becoming a basketball trainer is you have to really become a student of the game. You have to be someone who learns as much as you can about the game of basketball. You have to be willing to research and learn from other trainers. See what other trainers are doing. Also, you have to be able to identify what drills and techniques will really help players get better. And that's not always an easy job. What works for one player may not work for others. So you have to really take that into consideration. And a lot of times people believe that basketball trainers have an easy job, and that's not the truth. Basketball trainers have a pretty difficult job because your job as a basketball trainer is to make players get better. But what happens when players don't get better that you train? Then people start to say, oh, he doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know anything about basketball. He's not a good trainer. So as a basketball trainer, we have to really understand and be creative in developing drills and techniques to help these players get better. I hope you guys have enjoyed this session, learning a little bit more about a basketball trainer and what we do. It's been a pleasure. If you would like to learn more about my organization, or if you would like my email to shoot me an email and ask questions, please feel free to visit my website at www.hoopsdomain.com. Have a great day.
Hi, my name is Julia. I am an attorney, and I'm here to tell you about what it's like to be an attorney and to answer your questions. I practiced law for about 16 years. And what the practice of law means is that you work for a law firm and you represent clients before a court. I represented clients before the North Carolina Industrial Commission, so I handled workers' compensation claims. My mom never went to college. My dad did go to college. He worked on a freight dock to put himself through college, and education was really important to them. And I'm a firm believer that having a good education allows you to do a lot of great things in life. I knew from the time I was in the 9th grade that I wanted to be a lawyer. And honestly, I'm not really sure why I wanted to be a lawyer. I think that I wanted to help people when they had questions, help people get out of jams. Those are really the reasons. And I think also just my personality was suited to being a lawyer. Being a lawyer is not like being what you see on TV, though. So when we go to court, it's not like being in a courtroom on TV. It's a little bit different. But I chose to be a lawyer because I wanted more for my life. I wanted to be able to make enough money to have the life that I wanted, and I wanted to help people. Yes, I very much like the job I have. As I mentioned, I was a practicing attorney, so I worked for a law firm and I represented clients for about 16 years. And then I went to work for one of my clients. So I went in-house. And one of my clients runs an insurance company. So I work for that insurance company and I run what's called the claims department. So our policyholders, people that own plumbing companies or farms or craft stores might buy our workers' compensation insurance to be sure that their employees are covered and have medical care and payments if they're out of work due to a work injury. So when a work injury happens for one of those employers, they file a claim. And my department of people that work with me manage those claims. So I very much like that job because it allows me to use all the knowledge that I gained during those 16 years of practice and apply it in a new way. And it also gives me the opportunity to manage people because I have 8 people on my team and I get to manage them every day. And every day is a new day and I get to learn something new every day. And I love to learn. So for me, it's a great job. Well, I do a lot of things to help people, and there are different ways. There are wonderful things about working for nonprofits, for the government, for a variety of different people. And so you might think that working for an insurance company doesn't help people, but it really does. When I get a claim in the door and it looks like someone's been hurt really badly and they've been hurt at work, we immediately try to get them medical help. And if they're out of work, we get them paid so that they don't lose any money while they're out of work recovering from their injury. We also sort of serve as a gatekeeper so that when people file claims and they're not legitimate claims, they're kind of faking it, we prevent them from getting the money that they might be seeking. Because if we give money to the fakers, then the people who are legitimately injured might be harmed because there'd be less money to give to them. Some days, yes. Some days are hard, harder than others. Some days my boss is not happy with me for things I can't control. So that's really hard. If it's a mistake that I've made that I can fix, then certainly I do so, and that makes it better. But for the most part, I really like my job. I work for really great people. I get to do a lot of really fun things and use my degree, my law degree, in a way that a lot of lawyers don't get to use their degrees for. The one last thing I would just say about a law degree and being a lawyer, which is kind of cool, is it allows you to do a lot of stuff. Even just having the degree, even if you don't practice law and work for a law firm and go to court, you can do some cool stuff with a law degree. It helps you know how to read the contract when you buy your first house. If you wanted to be a sports agent, there are a lot of sports agents that are lawyers. There are lots of legislators and members of Congress that are lawyers. So the training itself is really good and allows you to do a lot of things. So I definitely encourage you to continue to research what it's like to be a lawyer if that's something that interests you. Thanks.
I'm Brian Hopgood, and I am a critical care flight paramedic for UNC Hospitals. Basically, I'm a paramedic that gets to ride around in a very nice ambulance. It's called an air ambulance. And here's a picture. Sorry about all the traffic, it kind of got busy, but this is the inside look. And basically what we do is we transport critically ill and injured patients all over the state in a helicopter. Sometimes ambulances would take too long or it's too far a distance. We can get there in a pretty quick time in the helicopter. As far as our education goes, we constantly learn. We go to school still. And one of the biggest things we do in our job is a lot of the things you kids are doing now. Most all our medicines are weight-based. And so we do a lot of converting pounds to kilograms and milliliters to liters and ounces. Well, a lot of times we don't know when the emergency is going to come in, so we may be late getting to a school program or seeing our kids off to school in the morning or maybe missing a holiday, but we enjoy doing it, and they know it's important that we help the people instead of maybe being at that party on time. So if you're interested in this, it's a very rewarding career. I got into it basically because all my parents and grandparents, they were all firefighters, policemen, EMS, and so I sort of grew into the job, so that's what I want to do for a living.
Good morning, boys and girls. My name is Miss Charlotte, and today I'm here to talk to you about being a nurse. I've been a nurse for about 10 years now. I graduated in 2010 from Queen's University of Charlotte, and I've been working mainly with adult patients, heart patients, since I graduated. Recently, though, I started working with babies, which I love. And that's the great thing about nursing. You can work with all different types of people, patients, and that's just, you don't get bored. It's just such a great field to be in. The reason I chose nursing was I really wanted to make a difference. Wanted to make a difference in my life and also other people's lives. You do so much as a nurse, caring for patients, caring for families, and it's just a rewarding career to go into. Some of the things that I do on a daily basis as a nurse is I give medication. I support both the patient and the family with whatever kind of sickness the patient has. I'm there to answer questions. I'm there to help them get ready for a procedure. I just do all kinds of things. What I like most about being a nurse, again, is just working with people. I also like working with other nurses as well. Nurses are great folks. They'll help you when you get in a jam, and it's just such a wonderful thing. Probably the thing that I like least about being a nurse would be the 12-hour shift. It's nice that I only have to work 3 days a week, but those 12 hours are really long and exhausting. For example, I have to leave the house about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I don't get home until 8 at night. Now, I am a hospital nurse, so it's a little bit different if you go work in a doctor's office or urgent care. Those have normal hours. But us hospital nurses have to work 12s. As far as where I might see myself going forward, there's all different kinds of advancements that in nursing. For example, you can become a nurse practitioner, which is like a doctor of nursing, or you can become what we call a nurse anesthetist, where you actually put patients to sleep when they go into surgery. I hope you guys have learned a lot and may think about nursing one day. We sure do need you. There's going to be shortages of nurses going forward, and it's definitely a career that pays off. So I want all of you boys and girls to stay safe, wear your mask, and have a great summer.
Hello, my name is John Dunlow, and I'm here to talk to you today about my job as a Superior Court judge. I am a Superior Court judge from the 9th Judicial District. My district is comprised of 5 counties. That's Granville, Franklin, Vance, Warren, and Person County. Although I am from the 9th District, I am subject to being assigned in any county in the state of North Carolina to hold court. Our assignments are issued by the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. As a Superior Court judge, we preside over 2 basic types of courts: civil court and criminal court. Civil court is a good example is an automobile accident where one person sues another person for damages or injuries sustained as a result of an automobile accident. The other area that we preside over are criminal cases. That's where the state of North Carolina has alleged that a person has violated a criminal law. A large part of what we do in the courtroom is presiding over jury trials. My job is to make sure that the lawyers follow the proper procedures and to rule on points of law and evidence. But the jury is the one responsible for deciding what the facts are. In addition, it is my job to instruct the jury, that is to tell the jury what the law is that they are supposed to apply to the facts as they find them to be. In a civil case, the jury will render its verdict and will decide in favor of the plaintiff or defendant. And if they decide in favor of the plaintiff, usually they're seeking monetary or money damages, and they'll decide how much money the plaintiff is to receive. In a criminal case, the jury decides the issue of guilt or innocence, and if the jury returns a verdict of guilty, then it is the duty of the judge to impose the appropriate sentence. In criminal cases, that could be something as minimal as a fine and cost of court, all the way up to imprisonment in the state prison system. I became a judge in 2019. Your judges in North Carolina are elected, and I ran for office in the 2018 election. I won the election in November of 2018, and I was sworn in as a Superior Court judge on January 1st of 2019. Well, one of the requirements to be a judge is you have to be a duly licensed lawyer in the state of North Carolina. So I went to undergraduate school for 4 years at Appalachian State University. I majored in political science and I got a minor in business. After I graduated from Appalachian State, I applied for and went to law school at Campbell Law School, and I attended there for 3 years. I graduated in 1994 and took the state bar exam in the summer of 1994 and was sworn in as a lawyer in 1994. I began practicing law right out of law school in Oxford, and I have stayed in Oxford my entire professional career, and I continued to practice law there until I was elected a judge in 2018. Well, I do get to make some of the rules, but the law that is applied to cases, that is passed by the legislature. The legislature, the state senators and state representatives in Raleigh pass the laws, and then the judge's job is to see that those laws are applied fairly and properly to the litigants that come before them in the court system. There are some issues, some procedural issues that the judges do get to set the rules on. I can set rules about when certain things are due in the case, when they have to have certain items filed with the court, and things like that. So there is a little bit of rulemaking by the judges. And inside the actual courtroom, when we are conducting court, the judge is able to make rules as to how people are to conduct themselves in the courtroom. Things like whether or not people are allowed to have cell phones in the courtroom, or not to talk, or how to remain quiet during court, things like that. Well, the short answer to that is yes. I can't even count how many times I signed my name during a session of court, but everything that we do, every decision that we make, virtually everything we do is reduced to writing, and it must be signed, and that becomes a part of the court record.
Hello guys, my name is Carlos Fields, and I will be participating in you guys' career day today. I hope that I inspire some of you to go on and do great things in life. I'm from Henderson, North Carolina. I went to high school at Northern Vance High School. After high school, I was fortunate enough to graduate there and gain a scholarship to Winston-Salem State University, where I played football. So I was there from about 2009 until 2013, pretty much. So being undrafted was kind of like, you can be here today and gone tomorrow, pretty much. But I was lucky enough to play 4 seasons in the NFL. I think my favorite team would probably be the Redskins, because that's the team that I actually got activated. Pretty much, I actually got a chance to play on that team. First, and it was close to home too, because Henderson is only about 2 hours and 30 minutes away from there. So I got to see my family a lot. They actually came to a couple of the games. And, it was pretty great. Unfortunately, I was never like a big time guy. I was just a role player, which I did special teams, and I did special teams kind of like kickoff return type stuff. And I played my actual position in a couple games, but mainly I was a special teams guy. So unfortunately, I don't have any apparel that you can purchase. As you can kind of see behind me, this is kind of like an official jersey. My last year when I was with the Chargers, in the 50,000. So pretty much I learned from a lot of different people. Pretty much when I was growing up, matter of fact, when I was younger, we didn't have like cell phones, and then I think my mom might have had a cell phone, my dad might have had a cell phone, but nobody pretty much had these type of devices. So pretty much what I had to do was go outside. So we went outside, and ride bikes, play basketball, play football, like pick 'em up football and stuff like that. So I was, at a young age, I learned how to play football and how to play different sports. But obviously, my coaches, prepared me well when I was in Little League from 9 years old, 10 years old to, whenever I got to college to whenever I got to the NFL. But not only my coaches, I took what they gave me, and I kind of did my own research as well. So that's pretty much how I learned the game of football, and I love it. And actually, that's not even my favorite sport. My favorite sport is actually basketball. But I was just really good at football and kind of excelled there. I think in high school, maybe middle school, I'm not sure, but definitely in high school, I found out that I was like really good. And to this day, man, I really didn't play the sport just to, I just love sports. And I played that sport in particular just because so I have something to do, pretty much. And that's what all my friends did. And I was fortunate to choose a great group of friends that pretty much we led each other, in great directions. And that's pretty much what we did. We went outside to play football, and we worked out, and that's what we did from the age of 10 all the way, into high school. So it just depends on the levels that you're in, and particularly for me, when I was in high school, I really didn't train a lot because I had like some athletic ability where it kind of, oversaw my training, I guess. And to be honest, when I was younger, I never did like that feeling of like lifting weights and running and always being tired and stuff like that. And it's kind of a contradiction because I was an athlete, but I just really didn't do it when I was in high school like that. But when I actually attended college and in the NFL, it was pretty much mandatory for us to lift weights and to spend time training and stuff like that. So when I was in college, we trained about maybe 2 hours a day, and that's just weight training, I would say. And then actually have to go out to the field and practice and stuff like that. But then when I got to the NFL, it was pretty much more the same thing, where it was pretty much a full day, 8 to 4, where you go in the morning, you would lift weights, go to a meeting or whatever, and then you would go to practice for about 3 hours. Then after the practice, you would have to go to another meeting to watch the film of the practice. So it could get really, time consuming. And I hope I kind of gave you guys a little bit of, insight of how, I chose the career that I chose, and pretty much my pathway of how things, kind of in chronological order that I chose to do, or how to, live my life or whatever. But I'll kind of leave you guys with this quote that my coach told me when I was in college. If you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So pretty much, if you surround yourself around great people, a lot of influential people in your life, you're pretty much just going to be successful. He always told me, actually, this was when I was in college, but he always told me, if you have 5 friends and 4 of you guys is going to rob a bank, then what is the 5th guy probably going to do? Probably going to rob the bank too. So if you got 5 friends and 4 people are reading, what's the 5th person probably going to do? He's probably going to read, just because he don't want to feel left out and stuff like that. But sometimes it takes a village to raise a child. Most of the times it takes a village to raise a child. So I'll leave you guys with that. And Mike, I appreciate you reaching out to me, and hopefully I'll be talking to you guys soon.